What's up, guys? It's Keta Loren. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about survival mode, how to recognize if you are in it, what to do, solutions, getting into solution if we are in survival mode. Survival mode is one of the hardest things to get out of. So let's just be honest and honor that right now, because your spirit is trying to keep you alive. And you have all of these little flashes going off like, hey, for survival. So survival is really important, right? But when we're safe, we don't need to be in survival mode. And when we have a roof over our head, we have all of our basic necessities provided for, and then we're still going back into survival mode over little things, it can really be detrimental to the fullness of our life. If you are new here, welcome. Please remember to subscribe, like, follow, all of the buttons. If you are coming back, thank you for being on this journey with me. This is a new venture for me, longer format content, and I'm showing up for it because that's who I say I am. And so I'm gonna be here. Also, if you're not a plant geek, please fast forward, but I have a new baby leaf. Look at her. I get so excited, guys. I get so excited when I see my little plant babies. They decided to join me today because just good vibes, right? Good vibes. So survival mode. There are 3 definite indicators that you are in survival mode. So the first indicator that you're in survival mode is clinging. Clinging to things. When things are trying to leave and you're grasping onto them and you are panicked, just like, no, please stay. Huge survival mode mechanism. The second thing that is kind of an indicator that you are in survival mode, manipulation. If you are manipulating something to get it, you will have to manipulate something to keep it. And that is a very strong energy that you are putting out that you don't deserve what you want, right? So we will never have to manipulate something that is for us. It will come to us naturally. So when we get in that mind frame of, oh no, it looks like this isn't going to happen. How do I keep it? Of course, that ties into clinging. You'll try to cling to it and you start making up all these scenarios in which you can manipulate the situation to get the thing that you want. That is just ensuring that you're in survival mode. And then the third thing is catastrophizing. It's getting an inkling that you are not going to get the thing that you want, or the worst case scenario, right? When you're in survival mode, you're basically planning for the worst case scenario all the time. And they say that worrying is praying for something that you don't want. The clinging. A lot of us do this, and especially when we work really hard for something and we have a vision of what it's supposed to be in our mind, it gets really hard to get kind of loosey-goosey about it. Like, no, I care about this. I want this. I worked for this. Why isn't it staying? And what you need to kind of have in order to be in alignment with yourself is an open hand policy. I call it an open hand policy. If it comes, let it. If it goes, let it. And know that when something's leaving your hand, the next thing is coming to fill it, because you are creating space. The longer you cling to something that isn't for you, not only is it being ripped from you going to be extremely painful, but you're holding up your blessings. You're holding up the thing that is supposed to come to you next. You are here to expand. So when we get stuck in one experience too long, we get really uncomfortable. It's going to get really, really uncomfortable, and you're going to try to fight the current, and the current always wins. Eventually, the thing that is trying to be pulled from you is going to go either way. So it's just kind of better to be like, all right, I trust it. Maybe spirit knows better than I do. Maybe whoever I pray to knows better than I do. Maybe I'm just going to let that thing go. So not only can I have some peace, but I can make space for the next beautiful thing and next beautiful experience that I'm supposed to experience. And I'll talk about this in another video, but the human experience, we're supposed to have a lot of them. You're not supposed to get stuck in one experience. You're supposed to have just the multitude. This place is a playground. We're just supposed to be having all the experiences that we can get. So don't get stuck in that clinging stage. When you come to a place where you're clinging, identify that it's because you probably don't think something better is coming. You think that's the only way. But then you have to go, oh no, I live in an abundant universe. I live in a universe that as soon as something is taken from me, it's just making space for the next beautiful thing that's coming. The second thing I always get off track because I get so riled up. The second thing, what was the second thing? So we have clinging, manipulation. I still struggle with this. I struggle with just the mental part of it. I don't actually struggle with the doing it most of the time because I can catch myself, because if you go back a few videos, there's a video called The Mental Diet. That has been life-changing for me to implement. It helps me kind of know what's going on in my mind. You can find it a few videos back. Manipulation. Like I said before, if you have to manipulate to get something, you have to manipulate to keep it. And it's constantly going to be this game of, oh no, I'm going to lose it because I'm not actively manipulating to have this thing. I had a brand that I was working with and they weren't playing by the rules. And so my inner critic was like, okay, then I don't have to play by the rules. And then I was like, no, but you do, because you could manipulate the situation and get them to do what you want. But for one, that's not in your character. And for two, that's literally saying that universe isn't going to provide me with something better, and I know that it is, so I'm not going to manipulate this situation. If they want to play themselves out of this hand, it's none of my business. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair like a crazy person. I'm uncomfortable with this hair arrangement. Anyways, so manipulation. Nothing that is for you will need to be manipulated by you. And that's actually a good sign. If you feel like you're having to manipulate to get it, that's a really good sign that it's not for you. It's like a clear indicator that it's not for you. And maybe you should relax on that situation. Because once you get into the flow of things showing up in your life, because you're letting go, you're not clinging, you're letting things flow as they naturally will, you will see the things that show up for you are like meticulously designed for you. And when you do that, when you just get like this full body chill situation, you're like, whoa, that's fucking cool. And I get really excited about this conversation because I used to be somebody who could not let go of control. I am a Virgo and I am a control freak who grew up like in survival mode, like the worst circumstances of survival mode, from foster home to foster home, incarceration. Like anybody who knows my story knows that my life, survival mode was embedded into me. And for so long, I was just like, no, this is what I have to do. I have to survive. And I finally got to a point where I was like, what would happen per se if I just decided that something was looking after me and that I was going to be taken care of, as long as I did the work, as long as I showed up and I did the action, the next indicated step, and then I saw what came to me. What if I didn't have to go out there and go manipulate everybody and chase and conquer and all that crap that just takes so much energy? What if I didn't have to do that? What if I had faith that whatever path I was walking down was for me? And since I've been able to embody that practice, my life has been peaceful. Because the opposite of war is not peace, it is surrender. And we're all kind of at war with this version of ourselves that we think that we should be. But when you lay that down and you surrender that, and you surrender to the flow of your own life, your authentic path, peace is the byproduct of surrender. And that was just a tidbit that I wanted to share. So the third thing would be catastrophizing, right? The moment you get a hint or a wind that something's going wrong, you instantly snap into the worst case scenario. Okay, well, when has the worst case scenario actually played out the way that you thought it would? It's highly unlikely. So that's something I like to trick my brain with when it gives me one of those worst case scenarios. I say, well, that's highly unlikely. And sometimes writing about it, this scenario that I'm thinking about is highly unlikely. And I also tell myself, I do not know this to be true. I have no proof. If you guys go back and watch my last video, I talk about how your brain likes proof. I have no proof that this is the case, that this is in any way going to be the outcome. And as a matter of fact, if I can think about the worst case scenario, then I can do the opposite. I can imagine the best case scenario. And I'm going to spend at least the amount of time that I spent thinking about the worst case, thinking about the best case scenario, longer even, so it kind of overpowers it. And if you have to write it down, then that's cool too. But what you're trying to do is train your mind to not go to these worst case scenario situations. We're trying to reprogram our nervous system saying, I am safe. I am safe. Because when you operate from a place of safety, every decision that you make is going to be higher quality. And this is something that I share a lot about. Is a good way to know if you are operating out of survival mode is if your decisions are made out of fear. And that's just kind of like a bonus thing that you can ask yourself. Excuse me. Before you make any type of decision, a really powerful question to ask yourself is, am I making this decision out of fear? Or am I making this decision out of faith? Any decision that you're ultimately making out of fear is being made in survival mode. So those are just some really clear indicators. Asking myself if I'm making a decision out of faith or fear is one of my daily practices. Am I not doing this because I'm afraid? And if I'm not doing something because I'm afraid, and I say, okay, what would be the worst possible scenario? Using that catastrophizing, right? What would be the worst possible scenario that could come of me doing this? And typically it's not that bad. And it's not like I'm gonna end up homeless because I posted a video on YouTube what I was afraid to. You know what I mean? So being able to work through those emotions, being able to identify them first, right? Because we can't change it if we haven't identified it, if we don't know that it's happening. So the first step is self-awareness, and then consciously being able to catch it and then revising it as it comes out, because we are trying to create a safe environment for our spirit to thrive in so that we can have the best human experience. And that is all I have for you today. Please leave a comment if you liked the video or if there's anything else you would like me to add or touch on in the future. I love you all and stay beautiful.